Approximately 2 years ago, 2B2T's lazy, coke-addicted, sorry excuse of an administrator, Housemaster, decided it was finally time to get off his ass and update the server to 1.19. That's about after like 5 years of the server being on 1.12. Since this update, servers had 0 duplication glitches, and it's pretty uncommon for 2B2T to go without a dupe for so long, especially after an update, because as long as I can remember, the server has always had a dupe that follows an update within like a week or maybe a few weeks at most. Sometimes even hours after the update, you'll see a dupe, like we saw with the 1.12 stacking dupe. With this in mind for the community, it almost felt like the administrators gave a shit. Updates were swift, and the few exploits that were eventually found got patched in record time compared to the way they were being patched in like 1.12. There was tons of speculation around this time as to what Housemaster had been doing to keep dupes away from the server for such a long period. Many assumed that he had implemented some kind of plugin that operated the same as like most games do, where each item, each entity has a unique identifier. So that way, if in the event there was a second one created, the server could cross-reference them and see like, hey, there's only supposed to be one of these, and just delete one of them. So the running theory has been that, maybe he's got a plugin that's doing that for him. And that theory gained even more traction thanks to the 1.19 patch notes on the website. If you look closely and read the fine print here, he mentions duplication prevention was implemented. 2 years after these patch notes, there still has been 0 item duplication glitches, meaning that basically any item that was implemented after 1.12 had to be manually grinded if you were going to obtain it, at least until recently. You see, I was on my way out to a base whenever I received a message from this person who had been harassing me for like the past month, and to my surprise, it was coordinates. Given the nature of this person that has been obsessing over me for the past month, I assumed that these coordinates would be nothing and just kind of ignored them. They continued to message me, and after about the 10th message, I decided to at least entertain the idea of the coordinates. At that given time, I was in a voice chat with the good fellas. A great group. Some would even say they're good fellas, And in this VC with the good fellas, the PvP demon, Nick, was in the VC. And, I asked him, like, hey, Nick, you want to head out here and maybe take care of this person? They keep sending me their coordinates. And this dude's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I do. I want to go kill him. Give me the coordinates. I'm like, all right, man, here you go. And sure enough, he barrels down there from spawn. They're down the southern canal by like 19,000 blocks, pulls up, fucking murks everybody. Everybody dies. Then these guys get all pissed because they died at their southern canal base after sending me coordinates, which I don't know what you thought was gonna happen. If you're bothering me for a month straight and you send me coordinates straight out, of course I'm gonna grief it or kill you. They join the Discord because they get all pissed and they hop in a VC and they just shit talk for like an hour. And one of their names I kind of recognize. It's this Scientify person. See, about a year ago when I was hanging out with the 5th column and in their Discord still had high rolls and all that, this guy shot me a friend request and I sent him a question mark, just like, what's going on? And then he responds back, oh, my bad, wrong person, LMAO. Come to find out later, he was a big fan of 5C and was just trying to get in good with him. He asked if we can private VC and that he can't say anything with certain people in the call. So we both find excuses to leave, and then we jump in a private call, and to my surprise, he starts to show off a Trident dupe. And it intrigues me to say the least. He shows that it works on 2B, and when he shows me this, I record all of it, but it's really clunky, slow, but I do have a general idea of kind of how it's working. Naturally, I ask a lot of questions, but he was being a bitch about it and wanting to like string information along for what I can only describe as like attention grabbing. The more we speak, I find out that the dupe actually came from his friend Marlo and a group called Autism Inc. I later spoke with the group. They're really chill with the exception of Scientify, but they basically look for dupes, and this is one that they were able to find. However, this time I didn't know that, and so I asked Scientify for the dupe, and he just wouldn't give it to me. He wanted to play coy, so I basically told him the obvious, which was, you already showed me you doing the dupe. I'm gonna be able to reverse engineer it if you don't give it to me. If you give it to me, at the very least, we can work together here. But if I have to go and reverse engineer it, I will end up using it for my own purposes. He refused, so I set out with my good friends INR and Laztech. We analyzed the footage, and to our surprise, after a couple hours, I was able to get it working. But we didn't really want Scientify to know that we had the dupe. So for as long as possible, I kept stringing him on so that he would think that we still didn't have the dupe. I'd ask him a question about it every now and then, and he kept sending like these red herrings. So I reached out to my good friend Etbis, and he says that he's got a place near spawn we could dupe at. It's called the Isle of Peace, and it's a good place to just kind of temporarily gather our bearings and get these Tridents where they need to go. But we ran out there, set up our Tridents, and INR started to set off down the track of automating the dupe, and we were able to fully automate it in pretty much no time flat. Then me and Laztech added various improvements to make it more AFKable. It was at this point that our mass amount of Tridents had started to outgrow the Isle, and we were gonna need something a little more. I had let the good fellas in on the Trident dupe, and holy shit did they come through. Me and Lastek flew out to their location where they had set up 4 shulker loaders for us to just completely AFK on it, while they were going to do round-the-clock shifts to refill those shulker loaders as well as get some of the Tridents to spawn. It was at about this time that I got a message from Catgirl Maddie, who informed me that they had coordinates to Sci-Fi's dupe stash, where he had been keeping all of these Tridents the entire time, which is probably about the best information I could have received at this point in time. I asked her to go ahead and grief it, get rid of absolutely any Tridents that were there, and we would hook her up afterwards with a fuckload of Tridents, which they agreed to. So they went out, completely eviscerated the base, and once the stash was griefed, it became apparent that Sci-Fi's loudmouth had gotten word of how the dupe works around the entire server. I'm not entirely sure what was going through his head or what his thinking was, but for one reason or another, he showed the code for his macro to other people on the server, which in layman's terms is just a step-by-step on what the client is doing to perform the dupe and what order it's doing it in. So it was about this time that Lastek, INR, and myself discussed the current state of the dupe and decided that we were going to go ahead and leak it due to the amount of people that were starting to catch on. But not before we had our fun first. What the fuck are they doing, dude? This is the outside of the portal. Give me a sec. Hey, why is there a million netherrack blocks on the other side of that portal? Dude, like go everyone come to this portal.
Well, I blame Toxic Pepper. Oh my god, what the fuck? Are you looking for quartz fucking right here? Bro. I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Alright, let's start getting some of these spawns.
I'm sorry.
It's all I want. I don't play 2B. I want the cloud